I am currently playing on a popular English-speaking Minecraft server, Mineberry, here on the left, and on the right, on another Minecraft account, I am playing on a bizarre but popular Russian server known as Dexland. And somehow, despite being on two different servers in two different parts of the world, I can see, interact, and play together as if these servers were secretly connected. You see, entirely hidden to most of the world's eye, Russian Minecraft servers have some very interesting history. From entire clone servers pretending to be one another and getting thousands, if not tens of thousands of plays daily, servers which are all different with different IP addresses yet end up connecting you to the same game modes or worlds, to a bizarre forum where copies of plugins and server setups are sold. The world of Russian Minecraft servers is very interesting, and it all started with a Reddit post. A couple of days ago, a user posted on my subreddit, which you should all go join by the way, link below, that they happened to be playing on a Russian Minecraft server when surprisingly they met an English-speaking player. Upon talking to that player, he mentioned that he was on an entirely different server than the Russian one. But how could that be? These two servers are completely different, right? So I went to investigate for myself. The first server I joined was the cracked English-speaking one, known as Mineberry, which gets almost 4,000 plays at peak every day. Very popular. Then, on another account, I also joined the Russian server known as Dexland, which gets upwards of 7,000 players daily. Both of these servers are very popular. Upon joining both, I immediately noticed similarities in these servers' GUIs, NPCs, scoreboard fonts, and more. Even their game modes seem to be identical. I joined the Jules game mode on both servers, and once again, things were all the same. Despite being in a different lobby, I was able to duel my account from the Russian server, as well as party up and play with it as if we were actually on the same server. This also worked for Bed Wars as well, mind you. So it seems that the Reddit post was telling the truth. Somehow, and for some reason, these two seemingly unrelated servers from entirely different parts of the world were actually connected or even owned by the same individuals. And this right here is where I first discovered the rabbit hole that is Russian servers. But before we get into that, I need to first introduce you to two Russian servers in particular. The first of which is Funtime. Funtime is likely the most popular and influential server in all of Russia, regularly seeing player counts over 10,000 daily and seeing upwards of 20,000 plus in the past. It's likely that behind Hypixel, it is the second biggest Minecraft server worldwide. The reason Funtime is so popular is due to a game mode which is super common on Russian servers, known as Anarchy. On Funtime, you can see that there are legitimately thousands of people playing this mode, all spread out amongst 50 or so smaller servers with 100 to 200 players online each. Now, these Russian Anarchy servers aren't like the typical Anarchy servers we are familiar with, such as 2b2t. The way they work is more akin to a typical SMP, where you are allowed to grief and there is no land claims. Oh, and you also aren't allowed to cheat. I was told that the reason such Anarchy game modes initially became popular in Russia around 2020 and 2021 was because Russian YouTubers started making videos about 2b2t and its history. Some servers jumped on the bandwagon and made Russian Anarchy servers like 2b2t, such as 3b3t. However, over time, server owners realized that they could make money from this, and along with the release of versions such as 1.16, where custom models, resource packs, and server modifications became increasingly more possible, the game mode slowly evolved into the more SMP-style Anarchy that is present today. These servers and game modes were then further popularized by Russian YouTubers making Anarchy videos, where they scripted trolling, trapping, and griefing players. And over time, Anarchy turned into your typical SMP, now featuring pay-to-win ranks, crates, and other non-Anarchy-like features. Funtime was the main server that pioneered this Anarchy mode, and they rapidly became the most popular. The other popular Russian server is known as Holy World, a server which can also see peaks of over 10,000 players daily, and just like Funtime, their most popular mode is Anarchy, also seeing thousands of players online, all scattered throughout various smaller servers. Okay, so now that we've established what the popular Russian servers are like, here's where things get interesting. You see, the first time I discovered Funtime back in 2023, I accidentally mistyped the server's IP, adding an S to the end of Funtime to make Fun Times instead. And I joined a server which, without realizing, wasn't actually Funtime, but another server entirely called Holy Time, clearly combining both Holy World and Funtime's names together. I would later discover that this fake Funtime server was identical to the actual Funtime in every single way, from their hubs and spawns to their NPCs, fonts, and gamers. There were no differences. It took me about about 30 minutes to realize I was actually on another server. This random server was impersonating Funtime and getting over 1,000 players and who knows how much money from doing so. And let me show you something else because it gets even crazier. This right here is my sub count, and as you can see it's almost at 800,000. Be sure to subscribe, no pressure. Anyways, this right here is what the original Funtimes hub looks like right now, and this right here is what the Funtimes Anarchy game mode spawn looks like. Remember both of these. Now, this is the spawn of the Anarchy mode on a server called Sunway. Here is the hub of a server called Spooky Time, and here is what their Anarchy mode spawn looks like too. This server actually gets over 10,000 players daily apparently. Here's the Anarchy mode spawn of a server known as Mine Legacy. Here's the Anarchy mode spawn of a server known as Skybars, and here's the Anarchy mode spawn of a server called Fun Party. What I'm sure you've noticed is that all of these different servers have very similar, or in some cases, identical hubs, spawns, game mode setups, and more to Funtime, as if they were direct clones of it. And if you keep joining Russian servers which are on Russian server lists, you continue seeing a similar trend. Even when the server may have different hubs and spawns, their game modes are almost all identical copies of Funtime. Things only keep getting weirder as you keep exploring too. For example, I joined this server called Lucky World, a server which sees upwards of 1,500 players at peak. But when I went onto their Anarchy mode, suddenly I had to register again, and now I was on a different server called TNT Land. Then I went back to the hub on Lucky World and joined another mode, and once again I had to register as if I was joining the server for the first time. And now I was on a server known as Griefland. Then I joined a new server entirely called Supermine, and it had an almost identical hub to Lucky World, and guess what? It also sent me to both TNT Land and Griefland when I tried to join its game modes. And guess what? It happened again. I joined a server called Playmine only to find an almost identical hub, of which once I joined its game modes sent me to TNT Land and Griefland also. Again, this happened with a server called Sunny World. For good measure, I found one final one called Last Mine. This was also bizarre. All these different servers are just randomly connected for some reason, and despite all having different names, IPs, slightly different hubs, different play accounts, different websites, and potentially different ranks and a store, they all share the same game modes. A total of 7 different Minecraft servers, all of which are connected for some reason, but are clearly doing the bare minimum to not look identical at first glance. Is this some advanced advertising technique? If that's the case, and it is, why do they all use slightly different hubs? I honestly don't know, it's so weird. Browsing through these Russian Minecraft server lists truly is interesting by the way. You've got everything here, even girls only 18+ servers with forbidden plugins. So, what the hell is going on? Why are so many Russian servers almost identical, or in some cases identical copies of one another, and why do so many Russian servers seem to be connected in weird ways? Well, to understand that, I got help from 2 players familiar with the Russian multiplayer scene, MeTask and Ranix. As they told me, the main reason there are so many clones of Funtime, and to an extent Holy World, is because complete copies or even leaked versions of these servers' plugins are very easy to find. If you go to a website called spigetmc.ru, which is a Russian version of Spigot that, mind you, is not run by the original Spigot team, you'll find that there is dozens of copies of Funtime plugins that are being sold here. And to get even more specific, the reason why the Anarchy game mode is so common across all of these servers, of which many are entirely identical, is because here on spigot.ru, you can also buy entire server and game mode setups which are clones of Funtime. For example, here is a full Anarchy game mode build including plugins, pre-made configs, hubs, and worlds, of which you can buy for about 3,200 rubles, or about $35 US. Here's another example where a player is selling a plugin for about $5 US and advertising it as the exact same plugin that is on Holy World. And here's a similar case where it was also done with Funtime, this time for about $10 US. And the issue with these clone plugins, as I was told, is that often they are poorly made or are very overpriced and are just using the big name recognition of Funtime and Holy World in order to trick unsuspecting buyers. This is super common by the way, just search Funtime or Holy World on the forums and you will be given dozens of results. There's even an entire tag on spigetmc.ru for these 2 servers because copying their plugins is so common. So, since plugins from Funtime and Holy World are so easily and widely accessible, often younger kids or teenagers will see YouTube videos of popular YouTubers playing on these servers and promoting them, of which by the way there is an entire YouTube niche for, and then they decide they want to do the same. So they go to websites like spigetmc.ru and buy buy the entire plugins and setups, or if they don't want to spend money, they take a chance and go to leak websites to try to pirate them, and within the span of a few hours, they can have their own funtime style Anarchy server ready to go. Majority of these servers die very quickly since they are run by younger individuals who don't know what to do with them, but a few make it out and end up making enough money off of being a copy of funtime that they can survive for extended periods. If you search up the Russian word for Minecraft Anarchy on YouTube, you can find hundreds of videos, shorts, and servers, all of which function almost identically to funtime or Holy World. It's hugely popular, which unfortunately for Russian players means that they have to deal with an oversaturation of these low quality servers that are often extremely pay to win or horribly monetized with crates and gambling. As Rainix told me, the absurd prevalence of these servers has led to many administrators and developers losing the desire to make and develop differing or unique game modes, as they all get drowned out by Anarchy and don't get enough players. He even claimed it has led to the death of Russian Minecraft, as these Anarchy clone servers have entirely taken over and dominate the market. Who knows if things will ever improve? I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching.